Your mic is mute, sir.
Sir, your mic on mute.
See, in the given slide, can you identify what are the errors are there? What are the errors are there? In the first line, x is equivalent to 10 is a valid statement. Semicolon is not a error. Y is equivalent to 15 is also we don't have any error. If x percentage 2, always we have to check equal whenever you do the comparison. Whenever you do the comparison, it should be double equivalent to. It is double equivalent to y percentage of 3 colon print after the printing statement you can have. So these are the two errors you can have. Next, write a program to calculate the roots of quadratic equation. So earlier we wrote the quadratic equation. There we have not checked whether b square minus 4ac is negative or not. We are assumed b square minus 4ac as positive. For that, we calculated the errors. So now for a given expression, that is a x square plus bx plus c is equivalent to 0. First, we will calculate b square minus 4ac. We will calculate first b square minus 4ac. Once you have calculated here, so now if d is equivalent to 0, d is equivalent to 0. So what are the roots you'll get? We will get the same roots. So x1, x2 is equivalent to minus b by 2a. So here the x1, x2, it is given as minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac by 2a. As b square minus 4ac is equivalent to 0, b square minus 4ac is equivalent to 0. So what are the roots you'll get? Minus b by 2a. So you'll have equal roots. Now, if d is equivalent to positive, that is, if d is greater than 0, if d is greater than 0, we are going to have two roots which are not equal, and those roots are x1 is equivalent to minus b. Already this b square minus 4ac we are calculated as d. So this we can write as plus math dot sqrt of d, sqrt of d by 2a. Similarly, x2 is also equivalent to minus b minus math dot sqrt of d divided by 2a. So this is valid when d is positive. Suppose if d is negative, so we have to get the imaginary parts. We have to get the imaginary parts. So for that, you can have the d is equivalent to, so there is roots x1 is equivalent to minus b by 2a minus b by 2a plus j we have to append, and square root of d divided by 2a. Similarly, x2 also minus b by 2a minus j square root of d by 2a. This is how we require. This is how we require. So now we will see the programming for this. So what are the values we are expecting? We are going to be expect the values are a is equivalent to int of input. Next, we will declare b, we will declare c. So once the coefficients, after entering the coefficients, then we have to find out D. So what is the D value? We have to evaluate B square, that is B star star 2 minus 4AC 4 star A star C. So once we have calculated the D, then we will write a if statement. If D double equivalent to 0, here first I am checking the value of D, whether it is 0 or not. If it is 0, now I'll print the statement as the roots are equal, and the roots are equal, and we have only one root that we can have 2 times, right? So that we will evaluate in this manner. So what is the expression we have to write for finding out roots? So as we have only one root, so that we can take as x is equivalent to minus b divided by 2 star a. So if you want to declare the equal roots x1 as well as x2, you can have one more statement with the same value. So x1 is equivalent to minus b by 2a, and x2 is equivalent to minus b by 2a. Both the roots are equal. Next, suppose if d is non-zero. If it is d is non-zero, then we will write one more else statement. If d is greater than 0. If d is greater than 0. So whenever d is greater than 0, we are going to get two roots. That we will print. The roots are unequal. Then we will write x1 expression as x1 is equivalent to minus b plus math dot sqrt of d whole divided by 2a. We have to import the math dot. So import statement we will write. Import math. So once we are calculated, we are displaying x1. Then we will write x2. x2 is equivalent to minus b minus square root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. The third case, suppose if these two conditions fails, then we have to write else case. In the else case, so what are the roots you'll get? Unequal roots, and the roots are imaginary. The roots are unequal, and we can write complex roots. In the earlier case, they are real roots, so you can write unequal and real. So now how to write the complex number for this. So for this, the same thing we will write. Just we are going to be add the I part, that is j we have to write here. So for writing this, we will write minus b by 2 into a minus b by 2a. This is what the real part. Then plus j. The imaginary part is math dot, that is b square square root of b square minus b square minus 4ac under square root by 2a. Then I'll put x2 is equivalent to minus b by 2a. Here you'll write minus j. So now when you run this, here j is not be considered. J is not be considered as an integer value or float value. So for this, what we will do is we will convert everything into string. We will convert everything into string, right? String. Then for concatenation, what is the concatenation operator? Plus is the concatenation operator. Then I need plus also. So I'll write plus. J also I'll include in string. Then I'll go for concatenation operator, str of math dot remaining portion. Math dot remaining portion. So why I'm converting into string is this j, for including this j as the imaginary portion. If you write plus j, it won't read. So this I'll put for x2. X2 is equivalent to same thing. Instead of plus, you'll get minus sign. You'll get minus sign. So now I'm going to print. I'm going to print the roots are x1 and x2. Whereas in these two cases, it is not required. It is not required to print to convert the x1 and x2 values as string. So at the end, we will write a print statement. Print x1 comma x2. X1 comma x2. Now we will run this. We'll see any errors are there. Unmatched 1, 2. Unmatched. So here we will enter randomly some values. 4, 9, 6. See, the roots are unequal and real, and the roots are minus 0.25 and minus 2.0. Similarly, you can enter any value. You can display the values. Either it may be a real, unequal, or unequal and complex, and the roots are equal depending upon the values of ABC. You can try out. So everyone clear about this program for finding out the quadratic equation roots. So here only the changes if it is imaginary, that for handling it. So I'm putting the imaginary expression with the plus j. The imaginary always it will be represented with j symbol. So if you have any doubts, you can put me. If you are clear, you can make a note of this. I'm not sure JPython and Jthon, maybe they may be same. I'll find out and I'll tell you. Q5.
Okay, sir.
Okay, now we'll move to the next slide. The next one is write a program to read the numbers until -1 is encountered. -1 is encountered. Also count the negative, positives, and zeros entered by the user. So here in this program, we are keep on taking the inputs from the user, that is at the end command prompt. So whenever it is encounter -1, we have to terminate the loop. Till this point, you can have the values we can take from the input. So how we can do the programming for this? So total, how many counts we have to take here is we have to count negative numbers, positive numbers, and zeros. So this part we have done earlier. Only additional is checking the condition till the input is -1. Till the input is -1. So how to handle this? So first we will declare 3 counters, that is for positive numbers and negative numbers and zeros, right? While, because unconditional it has to be executed, so I'll place while true. So what is the statement indicate is this is an infinite loop. So while is not going to be check any condition. Every time it will take into the while loop until the condition internally whichever is specified. If it is not terminated, it is going to be executed repeatedly, because we have to wait for the input which is equivalent to -1. So for that, I'm taking while loop with conditional as true. That means always it is valid. So this while loop will be executed infinite number of times, right? So next we have to accept the input. So n is equivalent to int of input enter the value of n. Done. So first we have to check the number whichever it is entered is -1 or not. So when if n double equivalent to -1, so whatever the number which were entered is -1. So what is the action we have to perform? We have to come outside of the loop. We have to come outside of the loop. So here we will write a break statement. Here we will write a break statement. Suppose if the number whichever we have entered is not a -1, not a -1, then it will be go to else clause. In the else clause, I'll check whether the given number is even or odd. So how to check whether given number is even or odd? N percentage of 2 double equivalent to 0. Whenever
Positive, negative.
given number, that is entered number n, is double equivalent to 0, it indicates it is a what type of number it is. So what we have to calculate here? Positive number. So this we will write as n is greater than 0, not for even and odd, right? So if n is greater than 0, it is a positive number. So we will increment the number of positives plus equivalent to 1, plus equivalent to 1. Next, if n is less than 0, n is less than 0. In this case, we have to increment the count for negative numbers. So the negative numbers nn is equivalent to +1. Else, so if these two conditions are failed, so the given number is 0. So this you will write as nz plus is equivalent to 1. Nz plus equivalent to 1. So this loop will be executed infinite number of times. When this will be terminated? When this will be terminated, here we wrote a break statement. We wrote a break statement. Whenever the entered value is -1, enter the value is -1, break, that means it will come outside of the while loop. It will come outside of the while loop. If the entered number is not -1, then it is going to be checked whether the given number is positive number or negative number or 0. Depending upon that, the corresponding count will be incremented. So once we have done this, whenever the loop is terminated, I want to print the count of positive numbers is equivalent to, so as it is a integer, I'll put percentage d, I'll put percentage d, percentage. So where is the positive count? We have placed in NC, we have placed in NP, positive numbers, NP, right? Next, after printing positive numbers, then I'll print number of negative numbers, that is NN. Next, number of zeros, that is NZ. This is NZ. So now we will run this. So it will ask for what is the value of N. What is the value of N? So I'm entering 5, 9, 7, 6, 4, 2, like this I have entered, 0, 0 I have entered, then I am entering -9. Then whenever we entered -1, the loop will be terminated. The loop will be terminated and it is going to be give the positive number are 7, negative numbers are 0. So because -1 we are not going to be count. We are not going to be count -1. Suppose if I want to count -1 also, then we have to increment the NN plus equivalent to 1. NN plus 1 is equivalent to 1. Because -1 also, if I want to include, first I'll increment, then I'll go for break statement. Then I will go for break statement. Again, we will run. So I'm entering -8, so it will not be terminated. Because what is the condition we are checking? Only for -1. Whenever -1 is encountered, we have to terminate. 6, -9, right? -7, 0, 5, 0. Then I'm entering -1. Then I'm entering -1. So what? How many positive numbers are there? 9, 5, 2, 3, 4. So 4 positive numbers, negative numbers 1, 2, 3, and -1 also I'm counting. So 4. Number of zeros are 2. So here while true, it is indicates we are not checking any condition. Always true indicates. So what are the condition which you are writing in a while loop? Always we have to check for true case. So whenever it is true, then it has to be enter into the loop. So the condition itself, it has to be written true. So straight away we are placing true. So this means the while loop will be executed unconditionally. Unconditionally, the while loop will be executed. So everyone clear about this program? If you have any doubts, you can ask me in this regard. So in the program, they asked for, we have to terminate the loop. We have to terminate the loop whenever it is encountered -1. So first condition we will write after reading the data as n is equivalent to int of input, then we will check n is equivalent to -1 or not. If n is equivalent to -1, so we have to stop the execution. So we'll put a break statement. So it will come outside of the while loop. Suppose if the entered number is not -1, then it is going to be checked for whether the number whichever it is entered is a positive or negative or a 0. Accordingly, the count will be incremented. So at the end, once the while loop is terminated, then we are going to be print the total number of positive numbers, the total number of negative numbers, and the total number of zeros. So if you have any doubts, you can ask me. Otherwise, make a note of this program. Any doubts in this?
No, sir.
Everyone clear about this program?
Yes, sir.
Any doubts? Hello?
No, sir. No.
If you have any doubts, you can ask me. I'm not able to hear it. Okay. So if you have any doubts, you can ask me. Now, till now, the speaker was in mute. Shall we move to the next slide?
Yes, sir.
Next one is write a program to calculate the LCM and GCD of two numbers. Say in Python, we have inbuilt functions for finding out LCM and GCD, but here we will write a code for finding out LCM and GCD. So once if you understand how to write LCM, the same thing will be followed for GCD also. So what is LCM? So if I given a two numbers, how to find LCD for LCM for this? So let us consider you are given with 4 and 5. For this, we have to find out what is the LCM value. So how to know that what is the LCM value? What is the LCM value? How we can find out is this number we have to divide with what is the number we have to divide with? First number either you can take as 2, then divide this one with the 2, whether it is a least common divisor, right? A least common multiple. So first we are going to be divided with this one with 4. We don't have any common values here, so we are going to return this one as 4 into 5, 20. Whereas when it comes to GCD, so GCD is greatest common divisor. In the greatest common divisor, so let us consider if I have the values as one I'll take as 12, the second one I'll take as 36, second one I'll take as 36. So how to find a common divisor between these two is, one way is first I'll take the smallest number. I'll take the smallest number among the given two numbers. So that I'll put as 12. Smallest number I'll take. So this with this 12, I'll divide both A and B. I'll divide both A and B. So after dividing A with the 12 as well as B with the 12, if I'll get the remainder is equivalent to 0 in the two cases, if I get the remainder is equivalent to 0 in the both the cases, then we can decide this one is greatest common divisor. Suppose here, if I have, let us consider something 14 I have, instead of 12 I have 14. So then what is the smallest number we're going to get? S is equivalent to 14. So now A will be divided with 14. B, that is B will be divided with 14. So when you divide A with 14, here we are going to get the remainder is equivalent to 0. When you divide the 36 divided by 14, it is a non-zero value. So we can't take 14. So then we go for 13. Then we go for 13. Then we go for 12, 11. Till this point, it will be executed. So what is the condition? It has to be established. So whenever you are dividing, both the remainder should be equivalent to 0. Whenever you get both the remainders are equivalent to 0. So whatever the value which you are divided, so that will be considered as the greatest common divisor. So first, for the given values A and B, I'll take the smallest one. I'll pick the smallest one. After picking the smallest one, I will divide both the numbers A and B, with the smallest number, and I'll check the remainder A divided with the small number, B divided with the small number. If both are going to be returned, the remainder is equal to 0. So then we are going to be take the smallest number as GCD. Suppose if one of these two conditions are failed, that means if the remainder of A divided by smallest number or B divided by smallest number is non-zero, any one of these, then we go for next iteration where the smallest number will be taken as less than 1. So then again we go for finding out remaining. So this will be continuous process. This is one way. The second one is we will divide with some I is equivalent to 2. We will divide both numerator, both the numbers A and B with with I. So A divided by I, B divided by I. We will check whether the remainder is 0 or not. If both are 0, then we go.
ఓపెన్ చేసి మరి పడేసావా అది
Don't unmute. L4. So with A is equivalent to 2, if both are not getting or even if you're getting, so it has to be continued. So whenever these two are equal, I'll put GCD is equivalent to I. Then I go for I is equivalent to 3. Then I'll go for I is equivalent to 3. Then again I'll divide A divided by I, B divided by I. Suppose if this condition, both the conditions are true, then we will update GCD. Earlier it is 2, now we will update with 3. So this process will be continued till I is reaches to smallest of A comma B. Till this portion we are going to be evaluate. So whenever the smallest value, let us consider 12, if you are occurring, so this loop will be executed from 2 to 12. Whenever it is satisfying the maximum greatest number, so beyond that, if you go for, let us consider you are given with a 13 as a smallest number, assume GCD is 12. So 12, for 13, if you're not getting 0, as your updated last GCD value as 12, so it is going to be written that GCD is 12 only. Now we will see the programming part this. So next we are writing a program for finding out GCD. So here I'll take two inputs. A is equivalent to int of input enter the first number. Next, I'll accept the second input, that is B. So B is equivalent to enter the second number. So once entered this, then I have to find out what is the smallest value. How to calculate the smallest value? Smallest is equivalent to A. I'll put ternary operator. If A is less than B, else I'll return B. So if A is less than B, so A is smallest, so A will be passed to S. Else, if suppose if A is greater than B, then else will be equivalent to 0. Now we go for writing a for loop. We go for writing a for loop or while loop, anything you can take. So for, if you are taking for loop, so I has to be take in the range. So what is the starting value you are going to be take? Smallest value. Till what value we have to execute? Is 2. What is the last value it is going to be execute is 2. So I'll put S comma 1 minus 1. So whenever you take S comma 1 minus 1, S is assume 12. So it is going to be take from 12, 11, 9, 8. So 1 before, what is the value it is going to be occur? 2. So till this portion it is going to be executed. Next. For each and every value of I, we will divide the number A with I, and if it is equivalent to 0, and B also we have to divide with I. So B percentage of I double equivalent to 0. So whenever these two conditions are satisfied, what it means? The I is the greatest value. I is the greatest common divisor. So I'll put GCD is equivalent to I. GCD is equivalent to I. So once we are executed from the highest value, once we found both the remainders are 0, I can terminate the loop. You can terminate the loop. So you can put break statement here. Suppose if the remainder is non-zero for any one of the condition. So what is the next step we have to take? Again, we have to go for next iteration. So as this condition is fails, it is not going to be written any value. It will take the next iteration. Then I will take S minus 1. Again, it will divide A divided by I and B divided by I. And again it will check. So this is going to be returned, executed repeatedly until these two conditions are true. So A and B, we are divided with a common number. If the remainder is equal to 0, till this portion, it is going to be executed. Suppose for any case, it is not returning. Let us consider I took one number is 5, another number is 13. One number is 5, another number is 13. That means both numbers are prime numbers. So for prime numbers, what is the greatest common divisor? 1. So that I'll take as default value. So GCD is equivalent to 1. So at the end, I'll print the GCD of two numbers I have to take. So percentage D, comma, percentage D is the GCD of number 1 and number 2 is the percentage D percentage of. So what is the, how many values we are entering here? 3 values we are entering. What is the first value? It is A. First value is A. The second value is B. The third value is GCD. So now we will run this program. Enter the first number. I'm taking 12. The second number is 36. So the GCD of 12 and 36 is 12. So again, I'll run this. Now I'll take the prime numbers. One is 5, another one is 13. So what is the GCD value? 1. So apart from this, if you take any another value, what are the values? If you take 1, I'll take as 5. I'll take 1 is 18. I'll take the second number. I'll take as 12. So what is the common divisor between these two? 6. It is going to be written 6. So everyone clear about this GCD program? This is one of the logic. You can have any another logic. If you have anything, that also you can execute here.
Prime number, once again explain prime number.
So any doubts in this finding out GCD using while loop, for loop? So whenever you give A and B are prime numbers, what is the common greatest common divisor between them? It is always 1. 5, that only I show in the output. Whenever I took the inputs are 5 and 13. Do you have any greatest common divisor between 5 and 13? It is nothing but 1. So I printed 1 that I took as default. If both the numbers are prime number, the greatest common divisor is always 1. If you don't have anything, you can copy this. So here we are implemented using for loop. The same thing if I want to go ahead with while loop. The same program I want to execute with the while loop. How can we execute this one in the while loop? How we can execute in while loop is here I'll write while the number, I'll take one number, that is I is greater than 2. Otherwise the smallest number already we have calculated, so that we will take while s is greater than 1. S is greater than 1. But till that point I can divide. So then I'll go for writing this statement. If a percentage of I, do you have I value here? No. So this is nothing but S. This is nothing but S will take. S double equivalent to 0. GCD is equivalent to I, break. Suppose if this condition is fails, if this condition is fails, then I have to decrement S. I have to decrement S. So then I'll write S minus is equivalent to 1. S minus is equivalent to 1. So this will be executed repeatedly. This will be executed repeatedly. So whenever S is going to be take the common divisor, it will be terminated. The same numbers I'll take. First 12, the second number is 36, I is not defined. So here it is S. 12, 36, GCD is 12. The second combination we took is 5, 13. Again, I'll run this program by taking the prime numbers. One is 5 and one is 13. GCD is 1. The third case we are considering is 18 and 12. I'll run with 18 and 12. 18, the second number is 12. So the common greatest common divisor is 6. So the logic either you can implement using while loop or for loop. Both are valid. So do you have any doubts in this program using while loop or for loop? There are multiple things which you can have for GCD implementation. GCD multiple logics are there. So this is one which is a common method. Tomorrow next class we will see other methods which are we will get with a less number of iterations. Okay. So it is 11:10. I'll conclude. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. Otherwise, we will stop the session. Today we have seen few programs related to GCD. Before that, we have done the programming for counting negative numbers, positive numbers, and 0 till -1 is encountered. Then we have seen 3 programs today. The third one is